Hello and welcome back to the entrance of thy words. We've been talking over the past few weeks about growing as a Christian. We started in 2 Peter chapter 1 where we're told to add to our faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge and temperance and patience and godliness, brotherly kindness, charity. And then we talked about abounding in these things and being fruitful in these things. And we spent a lot of time talking about the fact that if you're going to grow as a Christian, you need to be diligent. That thing in 2 Peter chapter 1 says that we need to give all diligence to that and to be partakers, participants, not observers, not spectators. So last time we ended talking about the fact that there needs to be control in Christian growth. So there needs to be a plan. We need to look, as saved people now, we need to look at cause and effect, and on a regular basis ask ourselves, okay, if I make this choice, if I do this, then where will this land me in a year and 5 years and 10 years down the road? And especially fathers need to make those decisions about their families. Okay, so if I start this Bible study in my home, what am I actually trying to accomplish? Or am I just trying to check something off the list? Am I trying to say, well, I'm a Christian, I'm a dad, I'm a Bible believer, so I have to do Bible study, I have to do devotions, I have to pray with my family, so I'm going to do this every night, check. There's no fruit there. That's really not being a partaker. That's a very unfruitful look at things. So we need to do those Bible studies and whatever it is, make those decisions, and then say, okay, if I can do this and do it right and put my heart into it, then this will be fruitful, it will be productive, not just for me, but for the people around me. Okay, so develop the ability as a saved person now to look to the future and question, where will I be? It's good for, it will be good for saved people, especially right now, to examine yourselves and take a look at, where will I be in a year if this continues to trend this way in my heart, in my life? So if I continue to be unfaithful to Sunday school, unfaithful to church, then where will I be in a year? I've watched other people do the same thing. Now, on the other hand, let's be positive. If I do put my heart into this thing called Christianity for a year, and I try actively to read my Bible and pray and do Bible study and devotion and show up for Sunday school with a heart that's willing to learn and draw closer, if I show up for preaching time and try to take notes and be attentive and actually implement what is said from the pulpit in my life, then where can I be in a year? How can I get better? How will this growth affect me and the people around me? 1 John chapter 2 verse 15 is a passage that we quote from time to time, but it's very applicable here. 1 John 2:15 says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of God abideth forever." So this is hard, especially for a new convert who's been out in the world for quite some time. But we need to approach this in such a way that we realize it's a process. Like I said, it's controlled Christian growth. I'm afraid that some preachers, and I've been guilty of this in the past, some pastors expect people to be saved and then be super Christian in a week or a month, and that's unrealistic. That is not a good goal for Christian growth. We don't expect our babies to be born and then be walking within a week and running within 2 or 3 weeks or a month and doing all the things, activities of daily living that a 16 or 17-year-old would be doing. It's unrealistic. So this is the goal. But we need to be patient with people and show grace and pray and try to get them to take the steps that they need to take to walk and run and move on and be mature in a few years. You ever read along in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then you see the Lord have an encounter with someone, and then He either heals them, their blinded eyes, that heals some kind of sickness, does something, and then He looks at them. I think He looked at the blind man in John 9 and said this, if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong. But He said, "Go and sin no more." I'm pretty sure He said that to the woman taken in adultery. Well, yes, that's the aiming point. That is the aiming point, and that needs to be our aiming point in Christian growth. Go and sin no more. But let's be real with each other. We're saved. We're on our way to heaven. We've got glorified bodies waiting on us. But we're still trapped in this flesh, and we still struggle every day to perform that which is good. We struggle. We make mistakes. So don't expect super Christian in 1 week. We must develop a pattern or a lifestyle that will encourage growth. So growth is a slow process that involves diligence and it involves commitment. Some growth is natural. Some growth is better with a little work. You can plow the ground, put the seed in the ground, and watch a garden grow, and it will grow. But if you completely just stop working on it, then you'll also notice that weeds grow and things aren't pruned back like they should be, and it won't look like it needs really to look. So some growth is just natural in the Christian life, but that growth that is attended to and that you're diligent to pay attention to on a daily basis will look much better. That garden that is weeded every day and pruned back every day, and you take a look at it and water it and all those things, you'll be better off, and that thing will look better if it's attended to. And I think we sometimes just expect growth to take place just because we show up for church. You might not read your Bible all week and show up for church and think, well, I'm better now, I'm going to grow. That's not how it works. 3 things here and we're done. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, and I want to read verses 6 through 10. And number 1, I want to say this. We need to, in order to grow, we need to live a consistent life. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 6 says, "In the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand. For thou knowest not whether shall prosper either this or that, or whether they both shall be alike good." And then verse 9 says, "Rejoice, O young man, in thy youth, and let thy heart cheer thee in the days of thy youth, and walk in the ways of thine heart, and in the sight of thine eyes. But know thou that for all these things God will bring thee into judgment. Therefore remove sorrow from thy heart, and put away evil from thy flesh. For childhood and youth are vanity." Live a consistent life, morning and evening. Sow in the morning and evening. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Balance yourself out. Budget your money. Budget your time. Make sure that you're a balanced Christian. I'm discipling like I should. I'm being discipled like I should. I'm paying attention to the ministry that God has for me. Try to make sure that you balance your time. I think that's what's so good for these young people as far as the extracurricular activities are concerned. That forces that young person to pay attention to band or chorus or athletics or 4-H or whatever it is they're involved in. They have to balance their time in order to get what they have to get done for those extracurricular activities, but they also have to keep their grades up. And they also have to stay in church, and they also have to do whatever chores they have around the house. You're training them at an early age to be balanced and to divvy up their time and budget their time and get things done. Number 2, there are consequences if you won't do that. You know what teenagers believe about Bible-believing pastors and trustees and deacons and all that? They believe that we don't want them to have fun. I want them to have all kinds of fun and enjoy life, but realize there are consequences. Take a look. I want them to take a look at cause and effect. If you spend all your time as a young person investing in self, then that'll show up eventually and you'll regret that. Those young people need to realize that God is a judge and we need His blessings, and we need to make sure we choose carefully how we spend our time, what we set our heart towards. Number 3, childhood and youth, according to the passage, are vanity. Those years need to be used in training and then become productive and see that growth come to fruition and enjoyed later on in life. I'll end with this statement, and you'll know right immediately as soon as I say it, you'll know where it came from. Joshua said, "As for me and my house, I will serve the Lord." And many times when that's preached in youth conferences and meetings, people say, "Oh yeah, Joshua, he made a statement at a young age and said, I'm going to serve the Lord. Me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord." And then he did that. Joshua made that statement in the last chapter of his book. He didn't make that statement as a young man. As a young man, he served the Lord and was found faithful, and was found faithful to Moses, found faithful to the Lord, and he did what he was supposed to do most of the time. And then at the end of his life, he said, after he had already put his money where his mouth was, at the end of his life, he said, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Don't come out and make these big statements as a young man and then fall by the wayside. Do what you're supposed to do now. Grow as a Christian. Be diligent. And then at the end of your life, you can say, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Hope you've enjoyed this. Good day and God bless you.